I want to show you how we use Autocrat in a form that our staff members fill out when they're checking out their laptops or Chromebooks or iPads at the beginning of the school year. So here's our form, and we always did this on paper, and we have a district policy towards this, and so we always had teachers fill us out on paper every year, and we decided a few years ago to put this into a Google form, but our administration still wanted the paper form filled out, just so that they, for filing and record keeping, that sort of thing, instead of just having it on the spreadsheet. So we started using Autocrat. So here's how we have this set up. So we have our form. We have our response spreadsheet. This is what you need for Autocrat, because Autocrat is a Sheets add-on. And then you need a template or some place to put that data. Now, here's what I'll tell you about the template. You can set the template up however you want. So we modified our paper form to go into a Google Doc. And anywhere where you see these tags that has that looks like that, with the arrows going that way and the arrows going that way with words inside, that corresponds with a column header on the spreadsheet. And so that's how Autocrat knows where to dump the information in the template. Each of these needs to be unique. If you have the same tag someplace, like if I have first name down here somewhere else, then that information will show up twice. So you got to make sure that that's unique. You can also set up a template on a Google slide, and so you could actually do certificates for your kids or whoever you're doing certificates for. But this is our template. The other really cool thing is, however you have your tags formatted. So if I was to bold this and maybe make it red, that's how it would show up on the final document, is bold and then red. So however you have the tags formatted, you could do different font, color, bold, underline. That's how it shows up on the final document. So like I said, with that certificate, if you had a fancy handwriting font, you could make that, format the tag of that as that font, and then whenever the student's name gets put in there, that's what it looks like. Okay, so you gotta have the template. It's got to be either a Google Doc or one slide of a Google Slides presentation. And this is our form. So I'm going to come back here to our spreadsheet. So Autocrat is an add-on for spreadsheets, and I'll show you. If you click Get Add-on, you can search for Autocrat, and it has this little robot with the fancy hat. It's Autocrat. It's by New Vision's Cloud Lab. So here's how this works. So I'm going to go ahead and click add-ons. I'm going to go ahead and launch it because we have to get it set up. Once you get it set up, it should work automatically, or that's an option that you have, which we'll go through. All right, so we're going to get it set up here. So there's no jobs associated with this spreadsheet yet, so we choose new job. We give it a name. This is going to be, for us, this is going to be the job. So I'm going to click next. I'm going to choose my template. Again, something new that they added not too long ago is you can choose slides as long as it's got those tags in there. And it will have recently used templates that you've used if you used other jobs. But I've got a new template that I just made for this. So I'm going to choose from Drive. It should show up here at the top right here. And I always put template in the names of my templates, so I know that that's a template. And I'm going to click select, and so it'll pop in here. It fetches the tags for you, so it goes out and looks for the tags. And you can click on this to look at it too. So once we have our template picked, I'm going to click next. And then you match your tags to your columns. Now you don't have to use every single column. You can have columns that with data that don't show up on your spreadsheet. For example, I'm not having the timestamp or the email show up on this template. So you can have some data that does not go onto the final document. So I'm going to go through this real quick and do these. The other thing you can do is you can, if you got a multiple sheet, you can only pull data from one sheet, but you can pick which sheet that is if you have multiple sheets. And since we have a header, since this is with a Google form and it has a header row, that's row 1, and the first row data is on row 2. That can be changed if your spreadsheet's set up differently. So I'm going to go through here and set these up real quick. Okay, so we have everything set here. So I'm going to click next. Before we get here, I want to go back to our template and just let you just point something out here. So you'll notice on this template, like for our district barcode, we have barcodes on our iPads, Chromebooks, laptops, and pretty much every other technology that we have. There are 3 tags just on this line right here, but the staff member will fill out the form once for each type of equipment they have. If there is not any data for the tag, so let's say that this teacher's filling out this for a Chromebook, you will not see these tags on the final form. All you will see is the information for the barcode. And if they happen to skip something, then that it will just be blank. So if they don't put in a description of the equipment, it'll just be blank here. You won't see the tag, which is kind of nice that it does clean that up on the back end too. All right, so back to Autocrat here. We're going to generate a PDF document of these after the form's filled out and the data is put on the spreadsheet, so we can customize the file name. I'm going to customize this as 2018, 2019. Oops. And I want to put the person's name in here. So I'm going to click this little drawer here, and these are all the tags plus a couple, but these are most of the tags that you have. So I'm going to put, I'm just going to click on first name, and I'm going to come over here and I can paste the tag in there. So first name and last name. So what it's going to do is it's going to pull the data from those 2 columns for that row. So when I fill this out, you'll see it'll say 2018, 2019 property checkout form, Travis, true. and then if somebody else fills it out, it'll have their name. So you can customize that. You can use any of these tags that you want. You just click on them, and then that basically copies it, and you can put it on and then you just paste it in here. Under type, you can choose to have a Google Doc. We choose to make it into a PDF, and we just keep that just like that. So we put in the name, customize the name. The type is PDF. We're going to click next. Choose a destination folder. So I'm going to come back into my folder, and I'm going to create a folder called form responses. So I'm going to click create, and I'll come back to our spreadsheet. I'm going to choose a folder, and that should be at the top of the list because it sorts it by most recent. So there it is at the top of the list there. And I'm going to click select. I'm going to go ahead and remove this one because this is just the main folder and we don't want them dumped in. But so notice that you can put them in two different folders if you want. So yes, I'm going to remove that. So all the responses go into that one folder. I'm going to click next. All right, so I'm going to click next. You can add dynamic folder reference. This is optional. This is something we don't do. There's more information from the help guide on this, but this just gives a more advanced way to organize some of your folder or your final documents once they get created. But this is something that we do not do. So I'm going to click next through here since it's just optional. The merge conditions, there's no merge conditions set up yet. And this is something that we don't do. And you can look at that in the help guide if you want to use that. So I'm going to click next through here. Now, number 8, where it's share docs and send emails. So we go ahead and turn this on. Now, you can run Autocrat and not share these or not email these out to people. You can just have them in a folder for you to reference. But in this case, we want the teachers to have a copy of their final document. So we're going to go ahead and turn this on. We share the PDF. We allow them to reshare it, but we don't have collaborators. We do send this from a generic no reply email. That way it doesn't show up as my email since I own the document. I own the form and the spreadsheet. If I had this set to no, it will show that it's coming from me, and I don't want that. So there's a generic no reply email address. And then you customize your email. So who do you send this to? Well, you can send it to, if you're collecting their email addresses from the form, you can send it to that email address. You can carbon copy anybody. So you can type in email addresses in there. You can blind copy. So I type in here the subject 2018, 2019 property checkout form. And that'll be it, and that's it. So you can customize the email, you can customize the subject. You can, if you put this in there, it's whatever email address that pulls from the form. So that's just generated automatically. So we do send those out. So I'm going to click next, and then the final thing here, number 9, is to run a trigger. So since this is attached to a form, we run a trigger so that whenever the form is submitted, Autocrat is supposed to run automatically. You can run a time trigger. I don't suggest running those at the same time choose one. Choose to either to run a form trigger or to run a trigger based on time, like every 12 hours, every 2 hours, that sort of thing. But since we have this spreadsheet tied to a form, we go ahead and run the form trigger. And once you have that, you can click save, and it'll finalize everything and it'll be done. So what I'm going to do, there we go. So now it's done. So if I close this window, I can always come back into add-ons, Autocrat, and now I have the option to open it. And so now, since it's been set up the first time, I'm going to go ahead and open it. And I should see that very first page. So on one spreadsheet, I could set up a whole nother job, depending on what I wanted to do with that data. But if I want to force this to run, I click this run or this play button. If I want to go in and edit something, maybe I missed a tag or have something misspelled on my email, I can edit it. I can preview it. I can delete this, and I can do some other settings there. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. I'm going to go back to my form. I'm going to go ahead and fill this out just so you kind of see what's going to happen here. So this is going to be real quick, filling this out. This is going to be I am checking out a Chromebook. I'm going to date this and initial it. And I'm going to go ahead and submit this. So once I submit it, if we go back here, here's my spreadsheet with all of my form data. Okay, and some of it's been skipped because I didn't fill that out. Now here's what's really cool. I'm going to go to the end of the form or the end of the spreadsheet. I'm going to go ahead. There you can see it's running. So it created these columns. Autocrat did. So there's a merged merge doc ID, merge doc URL, link, and document merge status. So it'll make those. The very first time that you do it, what I found is you have to, oh, nope, I don't have to this time. And there it popped in automatically. So as soon as the form was filled out, within a minute or two, we have everything done. So these columns were generated, the 4 columns were generated by Autocrat at the end of your spreadsheet. So this is the merge, this is the document ID. This is the link to the document. So you can always come in here and click on that. This is the link to the document, but it's got the actual name. So you should see my name right here. And then what happened with the document. The document was successfully merged, the PDF created, and an email sent to my email address, and it ran via the form trigger and what time it ran. So let's look at, here's the email. Nope, I haven't got the email yet. Let's look at in their form responses. Here's the document. If I click on that, so you see where those templates or those tags were, it took all those tags out because I didn't put it in description of equipment or anything else. It only put in the wherever there was data for those tags, that was all that was entered. So that's what the teacher will get. It will get left here for inventory purposes, so we know where the equipment is. It will eventually get emailed to us. There it is. And here's what the email looks like. It comes from that no reply email. Here's what I typed in there, and then it's attached. So now the teacher has a copy. Teacher has a copy of the form. We have a copy of the form for inventory. And anytime that form now runs, it runs automatically in the background. We go in and check it every so often to make sure it is running. And if it has stopped running for whatever reason, we just click on, and you'll know that it stopped because you will have blank lines in these columns here. You just go into add-ons and Autocrat, open it, and press that run button, and it'll pick up all the empty spots. But we just check that every so often, make sure it's running. And so that's how Autocrat works. That's how we use it here in the district for staff forms.